Speaking of fucking goofy, ladies and gentlemen, if you need a good laugh and you've been feeling a little under the weather, few things can bring a tickle to your throat that will compete with a cough. Like the most miserable man on the internet, Greg Kelly. I give you Greg Kelly a clip he posted, or they posted on his behalf. They're all corrupt leaders. That's it. That's it. Just Greg Kelly. They're all corrupt leaders. This is the only answer. Why would they be against Donald John Trump if they weren't all corrupt? It couldn't be evidence. It couldn't be his misuse of classified documents. It couldn't be his grotesque behavior while president and before and after. It couldn't be any of those things. It must be corruption at the female body inspector office.
In the country, and it's just you and me. The corruption, the deception, the game playing from the FBI. Yep, they got Joe Biden elected, but they destroyed themselves in the process. I do believe. And now
Oh, well, if you believe it, then there you go. So the FBI doesn't work anymore. It's totally defunct. Like, if you'll notice, nobody's coming and going from the office. They all just, what few people, had windows, they jumped out of them, and then everybody else just left through the sewers, I think.
FBI, I don't think so. How about DNC, as in Democrat National Committee?
Democratic. There is an IC on the end of it. As in, I see what you tried to do there.
Now, we all grew up, probably had an instinctive appreciation and admiration for the FBI because we...
Yeah, still do. My uncle was in the FBI.
We learned in school they were the good guys. I actually thought about...
No, actually didn't at all. They've gotten a lot fucking better. But when I grew up, most of the news you heard about the FBI predated their work with, serial killers and stopping major terrorist plots, and really centered around J. Edgar Hoover tormenting civil rights leaders.
Joining the FBI right around the time I was supposed to get out of the Marine Corps, but something told me, no, this is not the place for you, and now...
Let me guess. It was the hiring agent? Something told me, no, the FBI isn't the place for you. It was someone at the FBI, actually, who refused to hire me. But I got the signal he was laying down.
Oh, boy, what a good decision I made. That laptop.
Yes, so much better that you... Yes, and for America, that you're not in the FBI and you're out here in... Where the fuck is Newsmax's studio? Texas?
Ooh, this is just one of their dirty tricks. How they concealed it.
Ooh, oh, look, that anybody think that's the actual laptop? No, of course it isn't. Also, I guess just a picture of it. It's fine. This is and this is one of the dirtier pictures.
How they lied about it. How they played all these games.
Mac laptops don't come with any games installed. They have chess, which I think is better, but I always thought it should come with, like, for old time's sake, it should have Minesweeper, chess, and solitaire, just, for flights.
And what they did to Rudy Giuliani, do you know?
Oh, yes. They made him look like an asshole. The FBI tricked him. They hacked the GPS and sent him to Four Seasons Total Landscaping.
Giuliani was spied on by the FBI.
Oh, my God. It's almost as if he was engaged in criminal behavior.
Now, the New York Times is never going to tell us this, all right? But
no, of course not. The New York Times isn't going to tell you that, because it isn't true, but okay.
We got it. We've been able to...
You got it.
Connect the dots and...
All right. Did you have Glenn Beck help you, I hope?
Based on what Rudy Giuliani has said and what the New York Post is reporting...
Oh, wait. If Giuliani said it and the New York Post? Wait a minute. Hold on. New York Post. I think it's... You mean, hold on. This New York Post? The New York Post. Okay, yeah, this one. Don, who couldn't build a wall, had a great fall. Can all the GOP's men put the party back together again? Trumpty Dumpty. That was months ago.
The FBI was spying on Trump's then lawyer, Rudy Giuliani's online cloud under the pretext of an investigation into alleged foreign agent registration violations.
Which they got a warrant for, I presume?
A probe which was conveniently dropped this year. It was on Rudy Giuliani's online cloud. He was talking about the laptop. He had it. It was sent to him. More on...
No, it wasn't. And no, he didn't. Why would it be on the online cloud? What are you talking about?
That in a little bit. This
But please, no. Go on about it right fucking now.
really shouldn't
Trade me right fucking now and hang up.
surprise anybody, though, about the FBI. Let's take a look. Those good feelings we have, it's really based on movies and TV shows. I mean, look at some of these
Fuck you.
directors. J. Edgar Hoover. I mean, right? Him? But these more recent characters. Let's start with Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller, and this has been airbrushed away history, was an incompetent director of the FBI. He could not install a
And you were turned away?
computer system that they desperately needed. Totally screwed the whole thing up. A multi-billion-dollar debacle.
Yeah, he apparently they gave him the job because he had a DeVry degree, and he was like under the desk for like 2 hours, and he's like he didn't even know Cat 6 versus Cat 5. Like he was totally bullshitting. Dude asked for a micro USB cable. Like what the fuck?
And of course, he knew that there was no collusion between Trump and Russia, but he kept that probe going and going.
All right, again, assertions without evidence, gibberish, blah, blah, blah.
And going. And also, on his watch, you know what they did? They harassed Dr. Stephen Hatfill. Remember this story? The alleged anthrax mailer, an innocent man hounded by the FBI. And Stephen Hatfill said the FBI would do anything to make themselves look good. An innocent man. What else? More recently, Jim Comey.
All right. Like local FBI office going after this dude because they thought he was the... Oh, God.
Make themselves by the FBI. And Stephen Hatfill said the FBI...
Hold on one second. If I may. Let's see. There you go, 2008. Scientist is paid millions by U.S. in anthrax suit. The Justice Department announced Friday that it would pay $4.6 million to settle a lawsuit filed by Stephen J. Hatfill, a former Army biodefense researcher intensely investigated as a person of interest in the deadly anthrax letters of 2001. The settlement consisted of $2.825 million in cash and an annuity paying. I have an FBI annuity, but I need cash now. It's called Dr. Hatfield, ANTHRAX. All right, $150,000 a year for 20 years. Bringing to an end a 5-year legal battle that recently threatened a reporter with large fines for declining to name sources. She said she did not recall. Dr. Hatfield, who worked at the Army's laboratory at Fort Detrick in the late 1990s, was the subject of a flood of news media coverage beginning in mid-2002 after television cameras showed Federal Bureau of Investigation agents in biohazard searching his apartment near the Army base. He was later named a person of interest. In the news conference, he tearfully denied that he had anything to do with the anthrax letters and said irresponsible news media coverage caused blah, 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 blah. The lawsuit filed in 2003 accused FBI agents and Justice Department officials involved in the anthrax mailings of leaking information about him to the news media in violation of the Privacy Act. In order to prove their case, his lawyers took depositions of key FBI investigators, senior officials, and a number of reporters who had covered the investigation. Mark Granis, a lawyer for Dr. Hatfield, said his client was pleased with the settlement. Let's see. Justice Department Brian said to go with the government, but decided settlement was in the best interest of the United States. They admitted no liability. Well, whatever. Government remains resolute in investigating the anthrax attacks, which killed 5 individuals and sickened others after lethal anthrax powder was sent to the United States through the United States mail. One of the largest, most complex investigations, yada, yada. Solving the case is top priority of the FBI and the family members of the victims who were killed. Rushhold, a New Jersey Democrat whose district was the site of the postal box believed to have been used for the attacks, said he would press Robert S. Mueller III, director of the FBI, for more answers about the status of the case. As today's settlement announcement confirms, this case was botched from the very beginning, Mr. Holt said. This is, so, by the way, Greg Kelly finds himself on the side of the Democrats in this argument. The FBI did a poor job of collecting evidence and then inappropriately focused on one individual as a suspect for too long, developing an erroneous theory of the case that has led to this very expensive dead end. Hold on one second. Let's see. One second. That's the wrong one. Here's the actual text of the letters that were sent. You cannot stop us. We have this anthrax. You die now. Are you afraid? Death to America. Death to Israel. Allah is great. Never forget. Read the bumper stickers and t-shirts of September 11th, 2001. Is there more of these? Hold on. Scroll down. Anthrax about his thing. Nope. That's the end of that one. This is just us looking it up. Okay. Dude got millions.
FBI would do anything to make themselves look good and innocent.
Yeah, they were trying to solve this, and they were afraid that somebody was sending a bioweapon through the fucking mail.
Man. What else? More recently, Jim Comey. Jim Comey was a total egomaniac, I guess remains so today. Remember that press conference in the middle of 2016? He came out and decided, I'm calling the shots here. We're not charging Hillary Clinton. The FBI doesn't charge or not charge anybody. They investigate stuff. That's up to the Department of Justice.
Dude, if it hadn't been for Comey making his announcement about the Hillary Clinton email scandal later in the year, around whatever it was, September, October, Trump would have lost.
This guy is crazy. He also said, by the way, Trump's election nauseated him. He said that.
Yeah, well, that's pretty reasonable. Even the worst person has their human moments.
Publicly in an open hearing. Bad guy and Chris.
Bad dude.
Ray, no better. Chris.
No better. Terrible people. Well, this guy was picked by Trump personally, so it gets worse.
Christopher Wray gets there with all kinds of fanfare. And like all these other FBI directors, when they're confirmed and they desperately want the job, they'll say anything to get it. Oh, we'll be sure, cooperative. Yeah, call me anytime. Oh, absolutely. I'm at your service.
The Bureau has never grown complacent and continues to work tirelessly every day to protect all Americans. I think the role of this committee is special with respect to the FBI, and I would do everything I could to ensure that we're being appropriately responsive and prompt in dealing with all the members of the Senate, but obviously especially this committee. I would do everything in my power to try to ensure that the FBI is being not just as responsive as possible, but as prompt as possible in responding to appropriate oversight requests. Absolutely. My experience in trying to find solutions is that it's more productive for people to work together than to be pointing fingers, blaming each other. And that's the approach I've tried to take.
Wait a minute. Are we sure that Trump appointed this dude?
To almost every problem I've tackled, and that's the approach I would want to take here in working with this committee.
Well, that's beautiful, but that's the kind of junk you say in a job interview. He wasn't the FBI director yet, and he needed Senate confirmation. He gets the job, he's drunk with power, and when he testifies, he cuts things short because he's got to go on vacation. I can't believe this actually happened. He ought to lose his job over this. Take a look.
Is there any reason we couldn't accommodate them for 21 minutes or whatever Democrats want second rounds to?
Yeah, Senator, I had a flight that I'm supposed to be hightailing it to out of here, and I had understood that we were going to be done at 1:30, so that's how we ended up where we are.
Wow. What
at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
About I'm at your beck and call anytime. We got to work together.
Call him when he's on the fucking plane, dummy.
He was leaving for vacation on an FBI plane, but he deceived the members. He did it.
He did it. He wasn't hightailing it?
To Chuck Grassley, who cut him a lot of slack. Take a look.
Well, I'm going to be there, so I hope they'll be able to see you. So you got other business? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You got other business? It was a vacation in the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York. He was lying to Senator Grassley. That's
Or he wasn't lying. The public thought he was on vacation and he was actually doing some sort of business that they were drawing attention away from or towards. That's also the possibility. But I mean, Chuck Grassley was denied a fifth question. I never got to ask him the whole thing about using candy corn as buck teeth.
That's not business. That's not business. And most egregiously, I think,
I don't know, maybe he pays his family to show up to that.
he couldn't be straight with the American people about January 6th.
Oh dear God. Did he try to tell us it wasn't between the 4th and the 5th? Or the after the 4th and the 5th?
So do you remember the scene, the surveillance footage that we've seen by now? Protesters, rioters, whatever you want to call them, coming in.
Evildoers. Maggots.
Well, do you know that there's a real chance that FBI agents or FBI informants were already in the Capitol?
Okay, first of all, two totally different things, but notice the conflation there. FBI agents or FBI informants. Now, some of the people who were there that day became FBI informants because they realized they were involved in something that was going far beyond a protest. So they called the FBI. That's an informant. That doesn't mean they're paid. That doesn't mean that they're being funded, their rent's being paid by the FBI, none of that shit.
Dressed as Trump supporters?
No, they were Trump supporters who went, okay, I came here to yell, but they're beating cops.
We can't get a straight answer out of the FBI
No, you've gotten straight answers. You just don't believe them.
director. This should be a pretty easy one to answer, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think he should be able to just say, fuck you.
Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when.
Even now, because that's what you told us 2 years ago.
May I finish? About when we do and do not, and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. But to the extent that there's a suggestion, for example, that the FBI's confidential human sources or FBI employees in some way instigated or orchestrated January 6th, that's categorically false.
Did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January the 6th prior to the doors being open?
Again, I had to be very careful.
It should be a no. Can you not tell the American?
No, because they didn't dress the people. Those people dressed that way. That's what a confidential human informant, like a human source, is actually part of it. They're not undercover agents. That's the point. Also, again, and even if they're there and they're like, these fuckers are going this way, you might want to know about it. Why wouldn't the FBI or the Secret Service or whatever, if there was a giant gathering at the Capitol that could lead to violence, why wouldn't they have people in plain clothes around the same way that you would have like anti-shoplifting people there?
American people? No, we did
in a store. If people were walking around, like you have just people dressed as customers.
not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol. on
Gentleman's
January
time
the
has
6th.
expired.
You should not read anything into my decision
Ms.
not to share information.
Director Ray,
about confidential human
gentleman's
sources.
time has expired.
I'm reading information into that, yes.
You think? Of course you are. You're wearing a tie made out of Trump's foreskin.
That there were confidential sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol. Look at these guys. Look at these directors. Now, honestly, how
Yes, they all share prominent proboscis. I don't know who cares?
many FBI agents do you know? Rank and file FBI agents. These guys,
8?
The reputation of that bureau is established by them because most people don't come into contact with the FBI. And as far as junior officers, we have not been impressed lately, have we? There's Andrew
Excuse you?
McCabe, deputy director. Bad guy all around, of course.
Yeah, of course. He's on MSNBC. Clearly evil.
Peter Strzok, who hates the smell of Trump supporters.
Well, I mean, do they all wear the Trump cologne? I guess they would have to, don't they? 17. Smells like Q.
All right. So these guys schemed against Donald Trump, certainly in 2016. You remember Russia.
If they did, he got fucking elected.
Russia, right? It was Russia that got Hillary Clinton elected. They couldn't stomach that Donald Trump beat her fair and square.
Russia got Hillary Clinton elected? And then the U.S. overturned it? What?
And they leaked, and they lied, and they deceived, and they wasted our time and money.
And that's your job, Greg.
Breaking news in the Russia investigation dominates the program tonight and reaches directly into the president's inner circle.
We are covering the breaking news that Bob Mueller, the special counsel investigating ties between Donald Trump's campaign and Russia.
We've got breaking news on MSNBC. The first indictments in the Robert Mueller investigation.
Oh, they just cut it right the fuck off. That's it. They just blew. Whoever edited this just did that. They just went, Greg's got nothing. They just bailed on their own show. Holy shit.